I'm Kris with a K. I'm a software developer that works out at the Biz Foundry. I'm a young guy. I'm 25. I work for a company out of DC. I started writing software basically when I was in college, and it was about 2 years in when I started writing code a lot more than I was doing when I was actually studying in college. So I took the leap, taught myself how to program. Took me about a year and some change, living with my parents, living with my grandfather up in New York, living with a friend of mine, and then a small little stint in the back of my car, just to kind of give it the last chance, kind of as the last stand of making it work. And thankfully, I spent some time at the Biz Foundry and met up with another coworker in need of someone who did exactly what I did, and really the rest is history. I went to build that business out. Ended up taking another job, working remotely for a company out of Philly, taking that business and growing it to the point at which we sold it to the market leader of the environment that product was in. And now currently I work for a content marketing platform based out of DC, and that kind of brings us up to today. I still co-work out of the Biz Foundry 5 years later. The Biz Foundry came to me while I was in college, before I had actually made the leap to pursue software development. It was through an event called 48 Hour Launch. Kind of a idea is to get with a group of people and build a business idea and really fully flush out every aspect of the business. Who are your customers? Who are you going to be selling this to? How are you going to build this product? How much are you going to make off of it? What are the costs associated with it? Who are the people you're going to be competing with? The whole gamut, every aspect of it that you could think of. And really to kind of get you in the gear of thinking as an entrepreneur, thinking as someone who is going to be one or many parts of a business. I'd gotten interested in that through a mutual friend of mine, and it was a 48-hour launch, quite literally, as in stay there overnight as long as you really can, and then the next day go and pitch the idea and the business that you had. That really was what planted the seed for what the Biz Foundry was and kind of what they represented, and the value that they bring of really getting people to think about, maybe you don't even go to start a business, maybe you just get to see where you are as a part of the business and what value you are bringing as a piece of the greater whole that is that business. And that really helped me communicate me as an individual, my value to other businesses. As the idea of remote work has really started to take off, that is something that I can now go to other companies and say, this is the value that I'm delivering, these are the pieces that I'm going to be interacting with. And a lot of that knowledge came from the Biz Foundry. I really enjoyed spending time there, seeing as though the people that were there were either involved in business or they were wanting to get into business and just had questions, and just the act of going through those kind of conversations of answering people's questions about, hey, should I build my website from scratch? Oh, geez, don't do that. Just the idea of trying to communicate those things in the context of the business world has been such a huge value add for me. I like to co-work out of the Biz Foundry specifically. I have an office at home. I have spent significant times at coffee shops. There's 3 or 4 that are really good here in Cookeville. And I choose to co-work out of the Biz Foundry because it, for me, provides the environment for which I can control. It's got the people there that I want to be around. It's got the environment that I want to be in. It's got the freshness of a coffee shop without a lot of the downsides that home brings, where you start to meld your work and your personal life together to where you start to blur those lines and you get undue stress out of that melding of those two situations. And with a coffee shop, you have the chaos of you don't know who's going to be there at any given moment. You don't know how loud they're going to be. You don't know how down your neck they're going to be. There's so much chaos at a coffee shop, even though the ambiance is great and the fact that the coffee's there. Co-working in general is really nice because you get to control all of that. You get You get the really nice quiet time. You get space if you need to take a phone call, if you need to jump on a group call, there's spaces dedicated just for that. If you need to do something as a professional, it's really wonderful. I pitch it to remote workers all the time because it has a lot of benefits.